Hey guys, so this is a 1979 MG Midget 1500. I have taken this on with my son as a project, and to say that it's a project might be a little bit of an understatement. As you can see, the front lance here is completely just rusted out and gone. That's going to have to be replaced. The hood is not in bad shape. The fenders aren't in too bad a shape. They're already unbolted, so should be able to get them off pretty easy. The doors, where they have a little bit of rust around them, I think they're salvageable. The sill is what they call it, I think, but the basically the rocker panels, they're rough, but I think they're salvageable with a little bit of work. The rear fenders, not too bad. Down here I've got a little bit of rust going on there. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. The trunk is in good shape. The rear valance, from what I can tell, looks to be in really good shape. No real bad rust, but the rubber bumpers coming off this thing. You take the rubber bumpers off and it gives it a nice rounded look. I like the way that looks, so that's what we're going to go for on the front as well. We will not be putting the rubber bumper back on front. This rear fender got a little bit of problems, not too bad. This door got a little bit of rust at the bottom, just like the other, not too bad. This front fender is not in too bad a shape. It's already unbolted too, that's why it looks like that. But this rocker or sill, outer sill, is rusted out pretty bad. I'm gonna have to check it out. Now, as you can tell, the top, well, I say top, but there ain't much left of it. It's rotten. There's nothing left. I have taken PB Blaster to all these little pivots, and they're all froze up. The only thing moving is that down there. So I would say that we're probably going to end up removing the top completely. Not even worry about putting a new top on at this point, and just doing away with the top completely. Maybe not even put one ever back on it, I'm not sure. So inside the car, back over to this side here, the inside of the car is not, the dash is okay. I've seen some where the dash was all cracked up and bad shape. The dash looks okay. The seats are not too bad. I'll probably end up taking the seats out of this thing, sticking them in storage somewhere. Probably maybe even replacing the seats with some racing bucket seats to try to get a little more clearance, because I'm not exactly small and this thing is small. My son is not exactly small, so he's not going to have a whole lot of room in this thing either. He has a little trouble getting in and out of it right now. So wow, seat belts look a little rough. I may have to replace them. My main concern is down there. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't know if it's just a couple spots where the seats have been sitting. The seats have been bolted, the bolts taken out and everything. Everything else in the inside the compartment of the car, or the cab of the car, looks to be okay, except for under the seats. The floor pans are a little rusty and got dirt and stuff in them, but they don't seem to have holes down through them yet. So yeah, the wheels, there's one type of wheel, there's a spare, and there's Josie the cat coming to investigate what we're doing. There's a totally different kind of wheel. Oh, well, there's two wheels that match. So yeah, it's gonna need 4 wheels and tires. And then, if I can get this thing open, the hood is already released or unlatched. There it is. It's already unbolted. The engine compartment can stand some work. Overall, it's not in bad shape. I think with a little wire brush, some degreaser, clean it out really good, I should be able to paint this thing maybe black. I think it's what I want to go for. Maybe some kind of an enamel paint, something to just clean it up a little bit and make it look a little nicer in here. Looking at the underside of the hood, got a little bit of surface rust. Seems to be pretty solid still, but I'll do a little work on it, try to clean it up a little bit. Inside the trunk, let's have a look inside the trunk here. Well, inside the trunk looks pretty clean, actually. I don't see any rust. Everything looks pretty good in here. Some spare parts. The trunk is in here. There's a spare tire. That's a good thing. So I'm not sure what all parts may be missing for this thing. I'm not sure what we're going to end up with. I think that marker light's going to have to be replaced. This rear light, may be able to use it for a while, but it's going to have to be replaced. It's busted on the top. That one over there's got water sitting in it, so I'd say it's the same thing. The one of the reverse lights is missing. That reverse light is still there. Looks like we're missing the license plate mount. So yeah, to say this is a project, it's a big project. But I'll definitely like the way it looks without the rubber bumper on the front. They make a grill, actually it's for the older models, that covers up the hole there in the middle. Looks really nice. Kind of looks like a well, it looks like the I can't remember what years. This is a 79, 74 to 79 with the Midgets had the rubber bumpers. The Midgets pre-74 did not have the rubber bumper, and they had a grill, and that grill still fits this body style. Now, as for the motor and transmission, here's the transmission, or the gearbox is what they call it. It is a 4-speed manual transmission. When I received this thing, as you can see, there is no head on the top of it. The cylinder walls are a little bit rough. They had a little bit of surface rust on it, so I put some PV Blaster down inside the cylinders because it was seized up a little bit. And I was able to get on the flywheel here and got it broke free. Once it broke free, I was able to make one full revolution. Nothing seized up. Actually, once it released, it was pretty smooth. So don't think there's any issues there. But I will be taking the oil pan off of it. I will be pulling. I'm not going to pull the crank. I'm not going to pull the camshaft and all that stuff. I will be pulling the rings and the pistons out, honing the cylinders to try to smooth them out, and then I will be putting a standard set of rings back in it. I'm going to try not to go too far with the honing. I'm just going to knock it down and smooth it out. Replace the rings, put it all back together. I'm not going to be replacing any of the bearings, the cam bearings, or the crank bearings, or anything like that. I'm trying to keep this thing as low budget as I can. If I get the thing running and I get it all put back together and find out that I have a complete car that works, then I may start working on fixing this and fixing that, and maybe taking a little further. But at this point, this is a real low budget, just trying to put the thing back together. I was told when the car was taken apart, it was smoking. So they were going to pull the head. I guess they were going to do something with the valves. And put it all back together and try to get it working. This is the current condition of the head. As you can see, there's significant amount of rust on the top of the head. The underside of the head, that's gaskets. I'm thinking the bottom of this thing might be okay as far as the sealing surface. There's the carburetor. Oh, the carburetor's right there. I'm sorry. There's the intake and everything. I checked the rockers. The rockers all seem to be freed up. Nothing seized up. Push rods all seem to be straight and clean and pretty good shape. These valves, I'm going to try to clean them up. That one's not in too bad a shape. Some of these things, look, that one's in real bad shape. That one's pretty bad shape. So I'm going to clean these things up in a parts washer. Go ahead and try to see what I can make of them. Try to clean this head up the best I can. I'll definitely be relapping the valves, but I may go ahead and push these valve seats out, or valve guides out, and order new ones. They're only like $1.10 or something for the steel ones, or if I go with bronze, I'm not sure, or it's either brass or bronze. I don't know why that would be any better, but instead of being $1 each, they were $10 each. But I'll probably just go with the regular cast ones just to get this thing put back together, to see what the status is, see if it even runs, see if I can get the thing put back together, and see what parts I'm missing. So yeah, this is quite a project. Now I did, before I took the valves out, while the valves were still in here, I put PV Blaster down in all of these intakes and exhaust ports, and filled it up past the stem of the valve, so that if there was a leak, I would see it, and let it sit for several hours. And there was no leaks, there was no fluids coming out of these. But if I stick this valve in there, I've got just a little bit of play in that one, for example. That one's got a little more. that one doesn't have hardly any. So I think that might have been, that one's not too bad. That might have been where the oil was coming from. That one's got a little bit. So they all kind of vary, but he said that it was burning oil. It was not a head gasket. It was burning oil. So, but it had been sitting for 13 years. All right. So anyway, back to this thing. So they said it was smoking oil before, or it had been sitting for 13 years. They got it running. It said it was smoking, and it never quit smoking. Once it warmed up, it slowed down a little bit, but it was still smoking. And they pulled the head off, and it sat for another 7 years. So I'm not sure what's going on with it. So we're going to try to get the motor put back together and see what we can figure out. And there you go, 28,000 original miles. So I do know also, while I was doing some investigation on this thing when I first got it home, the top hinge is good. This A-pillar, as you can see it down here, it's rotten. So that A-pillar is going to have to be replaced in the bottom at least. And it's the same thing on the other side. It's hard to get that door to shut once you get it open, because that A-pillar is so rotten on that side, and the hinge is locked up. So yeah. So yeah, this is my project. My son has decided that he wants to take this car to prom in 2 years. Lucky me. Here we go. Get that thing off there. That looks a little better without all that trash on there. Yeah, this thing is in rough shape. So we will take it one thing at a time. Like I said, my first thing I'm going to be doing is getting everything out of the cockpit here. I'm going to get the seats out, get them put away somewhere where they're out of the weather. Get everything out of the inside of it so I can assess the floor a little better. Probably be reinforcing or putting new floor pans in where needed. And I'm probably not going to put carpet back in it, just because while you can order carpet and everything for it, I'm not real worried about it. What I'll probably do is get all the old carpet out of it and put spray in bed liner through the whole inside of it or something. Just something to keep it a little more protected. Like I said, I'm just trying to get this thing running and back on the road. Not necessarily to be a daily driver. Like I said, I may not even put a top back on it. I may just put it in some kind of build me a little shed or something to put this thing in. The thing's barely bigger than a go-kart, so it wouldn't take much to store the thing. But yeah, I may just get rid of the top completely and do away with it for now. And if we ever get the thing running, then I may consider getting a top, maybe a hard top put back on it, or just go back with another soft top and replace this frame. I may try soaking these pivots a little more and see if I can't get them to loosen up. But like I said, I soaked them all with JB Weld. I couldn't get them to, or not JB Weld, PV Blaster. and could not get anything to budge. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll eventually free up if I just keep working with it, but that's where we sit right now. As far as I can tell, the windows all work and everything, all the window mechanisms and everything like that. I do have a mirror on this side. That's a bonus. I didn't see one on the other side. Yeah, it's missing the mirror on this side, so I have to get me a mirror. So yay, I may have bitten off more than I can chew. We'll see. He wants it to be white and red, so it'll be getting a paint job eventually, I guess, but I just don't know when. It'll be a while. All right, so apparently the PB blaster on this top has broke free everything, because now it's working. Not great, but each time I move it, it's doing better. So at least we still have the frame for this thing, so I can leave it on there to protect or hold the tarp up so it's not pulling. But I can push it back out of the way to be able to get in here to do some work, so I don't have to unbolt it, which that's a good thing. So all right, well, let's see what else we can tear up on this thing. All right, guys, so upon further investigation, as you can see, there's not much left of this seat. So this whole seat is going in the trash. This seat is even in worse shape than the other one, so it's going in the trash. There's nothing salvageable on these seats. This was part of the heater, and as you can see, it's just a little bit on the dry rotted side, so it's going in the trash as well. Floor is hit and miss. It's not as bad as I expected, but it's worse than I expected. This side, it's not as bad as I expected. Got a hole here, but it seems to be fairly solid everywhere else. There's a hole there and a hole there. That's where the seats were mounted, and I think it's just where the bolt holes were. This side seems to be pretty solid. That rust all sitting on top down there is from the frame of the seat. Now the other side is a totally different animal. I'm a bit concerned about this other side. So the frame right here is solid on both sides. That's a good thing. When I got to digging around, I don't know if you can see the little bit of daylight up in there. That's in the front floor. It's pretty rough. This is all from the seat, like the frame of the seat on this side. And while it doesn't look too bad up here, that's pretty bad. That's got me concerned. Actually, the seat belt, I think, was bolted about right there, and as you can see, there's nothing left of that. This part of the car seems to be pretty solid. This seems to be solid up to this point. So I'll probably end up cutting this out and fixing this whole side of the floorboard up to there will have to be cut out. And replaced, but I have something I weld onto there, and it obviously welds onto there, and then here, this, well, this is eat out pretty bad here too. So I may end up replacing that inner seal as well. The outer seal here obviously is pretty well rotted. This seems to be the worst of the whole car right here. So I'll probably do away with all of this carpet trim, all this other stuff, except for what's on the inside of the doors. I'll probably leave that, maybe order new ones or something eventually, but yeah, I'll probably take all this stuff out and just and put spray and bed liner or something, replace the seat belts. The mechanisms seem to be okay. Actually, the seat belts don't look bad. They catch like they're supposed to, but when it comes to safety, that is one thing I'm not gonna go cheap on. I'll go ahead and replace the seat belts. I'll make sure they've got a good solid place to bolt on. You know, those seat belt hooks here, the part that snaps into, they're looking pretty rough, so I'll replace them as well. I'm not gonna chance on safety there, but overall inside here, other than what looks terrible, it's not really as bad as it looks, because that's all from the frame of the seat. So yeah, this thing is yeah, it's just crumbling. Every time you touch it, it just falls apart. So yeah, the seats are junk. Those, I did figure out what those are. Those go on the insides of the footwells down inside there, but I probably won't worry about putting them back either. Wow, what a project. So yeah. All right, so upon further investigation of the trunk, I found that I do have a mirror. I have 3 very tiny windshield wipers. That's probably the smallest windshield wipers I've ever seen in my life. It's pretty comical actually, but when you look at the size of the windshield, it's not exactly large. It's pretty funny. Hey, look, they all work together. So at least that's not froze up completely. But yeah. Oh look, the last time it was inspected was 1989. Wow, it's been a while back. So did manage to find some other interesting stuff. There's one of the wheels. Probably the one that the spare up on the front is replacing right now. It's bad shape though. I want to end up having to get 4 new wheels for this thing. Not really sure what part that is off the top of my head, but there's that part. And couple other odds and ends. The chrome piece for the back of the top here is there. That's a good thing. I'll hang on to that. So overall, the trunk looks pretty good though, and there's the license plate holder. I did find that, and that goes It's upside down, I think. Just like that right there. Yeah, just like that. So at least I have that. I may not end up putting that piece back on. I may end up making something custom or something, make it look a little nicer. I like the way these things look without the bumpers and with the rounded look and everything. So I might make a couple custom pieces just to make it look a little nicer. But yeah, found the shifter knob. It was wedged down in the seat, so that'll make Trey happy. He just wants to get in it and pretend like he's driving. I don't think he really cares if he drives it. He just wants to pretend. So I'll probably stick that seat back in there just for him to sit on so he can pretend until we get a real seat to put in there. But yeah, this is a lot of work. May have, like I said, bitten off more than I can chew. But it is what it is. So, father-son project at its best. We'll see what happens. Oh, I also found the massive glove compartment here. I guess that just bolts up in there, and then there's the front of it. I probably won't even put that thing back in there. It's in pretty bad shape. I might try. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Not that we really need it, and it would give a little more leg room down in there without it, so I may just leave it out and go with it. So for now, I'm going to stick all these spare parts back in the trunk. I'll be doing away with that old wheel because I'm not using that. I want to, like I said, get 4 new wheels. I got a guy in Wheeling that I'm going to get with in March. I think he said he was going. He's got a place in Texas, and he has 4 original wheels for this thing that he's going to give me for like $100. So I will be getting those in a couple months and putting some decent, go ahead and put some decent tires on it, because right now at this point I can't even roll the thing. That tire won't hold air, that tire won't hold air, so I'll at least get it to where it's a rolling frame. I can roll it up here and in and out, and as I work on it and stuff, that way it's mobile, because right now it's not mobile. We had to actually drag it off the trailer because I think that rear brake drum is locked up. All the other wheels were turning, but I'm not sure if this one wasn't turning because the wheel, the tire's so flat, or if it was actually locked up. I may actually try jacking it up here in the next couple days or weeks or so. Jack up the rear end of it and make sure that everything is solid on the rear end. Like I said, I'm a little bit concerned about this area right here, all that rot, because that's where the rear spring, leaf spring mounts, is right where all that rot is. So I may end up having to reconstruct that area. So yeah,